Alright, before this video starts, just like the other one, let's do a recap.
So this is the next boss. I thought it was best to just knuckle down and try to kill Godric. But that didn't work. Giant pop with his arms crossed looking pissed. And as I was running up the hill to see what else was there, we hit 10 hours. There's 10 hours on the dot.
And starting off again just on the 10-hour mark, because that's how I do it. I got a nice little view of the pot man. I got shot by one of his bodyguards. Then I went to fight a dragon, which just bloody one-shot me. I then looted this dinner party that these boys were having. It didn't look like much fun, to be honest. There was a giant dragon that seemed too big to be alive, but it was alive. And I thought, well, then it's too big to be an enemy. Maybe I could talk to it. And then it... So it's probably not a friendly boy either. And then went back to the river place and got attacked by these in-sync mud boys. I was trying to get to the other end of it, and then I just kept getting sniped by these boys. These guys just don't miss. They've got pinpoint accuracy, and I hate everything about it. Then I did find the lift though. And I got put up to this valley with the splody boys. Further on, I found the giants that were shooting me earlier. If you riposte one of them, you get stuck up the mountain. That was pretty funny. When I killed the second boy, I ran up to the giant pot, and I was ready to get some crazy lore, but when I spoke to him, he just said... Fuck you, pot. So I went back to Stormvale Castle and tried to beat Godric again. And then I tried to beat the big dog, only this time I actually did it. Well, my buddy did it, but I did it. I found this woman.
Somebody there. Might I bend your ear for a moment, please?
Basically, she said that some castle to the south is getting fucked up, and she wants to make sure that her dad's okay. So I just go down to the south, but there's a bonfire here, so I rested at that. And when I rested at the bonfire, there was a man on horse. He wasn't very friendly, but once you got rid of his horse, he was pretty easy. You just stab him. And then when I made it to the castle that the woman was on about, there's this pile with all these little boys. But those little boys ain't fun. Further on, there's a boss that's just like a big fish man. But once again, me and my boy, we slap that guy. He just gets macked. I found Arena's dad.
Arena? Thank you.
And he says, oh, if I see Arena, then her dad's coming. So I went back to Arena to tell her, and yep. So anyway, I went out exploring again since that was done. I killed one of the tree people, guardian men. I then found this giant bell boy. The only thing that I could think to do to it would be to get rid of the skull things he's got. And then when I got rid of a bunch of them, it just sat down. And you can hop aboard and go inside, and when you go inside, there's a little pedestal that says that I can duplicate my remembrances. And then a chest teleported me to this place. This place is like big boy late game area. It's very far away from everything, so I was a bit scared. But there was a giant that I did no damage to, but he did a lot of damage to me. So I went back to the red area and got stuck. Yep. I was traveling along the east side of that place and I saw a dragon on a bridge, but it turns out you can just ignore him. I did some Skyrim-esque horse maneuvers down this mountain and somehow didn't die. It turns out the path just goes all the way around that bridge, so it's entirely unnecessary. You can just avoid the dragon. Now remember those little boys from before? Here's some other little boys, and these guys do like 10 times as much damage. Also, there's a boss fight here. So then I went back to Stormvale Castle and tried to beat Godric again. I finally got him to his second phase, I think. And, man cuts his arm off. Now, normally you'd think that would be a benefit to me because now he's only got 8 arms instead of 9. But now he's got dragon head arm. And boy spits fire everywhere. But eventually, I prevailed after 13 hours, and I slapped that dragon arm piece of shit.
I am the Lord of all that is golden.
And afterwards, this dude was just stepping on his corpse, which I thought was pretty funny.
For a lord you were. Craven to the bone.
This guy at Round Table Hold said that I could find some guy to chat to via some portal. So he marked it on the map, and then when I went to the place on the map, it took me to this thing, and then I went through this thing, and I'm literally back where I was like 15 minutes ago. Behind the boss. And go inside, you got this dude who just like... I don't know. After killing Godric, it turns out I actually need to go this way now, so I did. At the end, I can open the door now, and then go to the top so I could use Godric's Great Rune, because that's how Great Runes work. You get them, and then you gotta activate them, and then equip them. I thought I could get through this gate now, but I can't, so I did some more exploring and found this giant boy with a giant book.
Look at you.
He told me that the castle up ahead is protected by some spell. You weren't wrong. It's pretty easy to get past, so you just run on the horse. Now, I don't even know how to explain this area. This is some fucking George R.R. Martin shit. You got these big 12-fingered hands that you backstab in the palm. Got these blue boys that spawn, and they can just wreck your shit pretty easily. There's also wolves in this area, and a magic giant, a boss fight. This place has everything. Once you do that boss fight, you get to the Three Sisters, where there's a dragon. Which I just avoided, and ran up one of the castle things, where I speak to a woman with two face from trailer. It's her. Basically, she tells me to go back to this place and search for hidden treasure of a hidden place, and speak to this wolf boy. He don't know how to get there, neither do I. So I did some more exploring again. Found this big old castle, which had something inside that I couldn't use, so I left. And I decided I wanted to go into this big cave that I marked, but to get there I needed to go through the water, which was all the way down here. So I did it anyway. Took me a long old time to get here, but once you go here, there's just a little mine. The mine's got this cool green tinge to it, which I kind of like. And it's also got some more of these little boys, but these guys are actually killable, unlike the ones from before. I found some cotton, because that's where cotton would be. This singing lady, you'd think she'd be friendly. As soon as you get close to her though, she turns not so friendly, so you just gotta slap her with your sword a bit. Also, I changed the weapon art or whatever for the sword, and I found that it works really well for these guys, because as I run out of stamina, it gets critical attackable. That's pretty neat. Of course, there's a boss fight up here, and I can summon this guy. So this is the boss. It's like a giant lizard fire boy. He's not very happy, but again, I just slap him. You just gotta slap him with your sword. This is that easy. Then when you do that boss, you get a lift that takes you to the Altus Plateau. This is where I thought maybe this is some endgame stuff, which was then justified by this dragon. I did no damage to it, so I just left that area. Hell no. A bit further up the road, there was another one of these boat people. This boat people had a skeleton. This magic skeleton. Just like the last one, you could slap it with your sword a bit, but I died at the same time as killing this one, but it still counted because I killed it and then died. Logic. I found the basilisks from Dark Souls 1. They're still assholes. Of course, they were protecting some poison swamp area, which had these cunts as bosses. It was a pretty easy fight once you got near them, but my god, I can't tell you how satisfying it was to actually just beat the shit out of two of these guys. They caused me so much pain. I then got one shot by a spinning head fire boy. Yep. I then decided to go further up the Altus Plateau, where I found two tree sentinels guarding this door that you could just run past. You can also just go in and lure them one at a time and kill them that way. The other one doesn't seem to mind. I then realized I hadn't killed the original one yet, so I went back and did that. After killing Godric, it turns out you can go into this room with the fingers. And this woman who reads the fingers. I'm not I'm not too sure. But this woman basically trades boss souls for boss weapons.
Be after more great runes now, eh? Then as your fellow...
This guy tells you what you gotta do, but I just ignored him and went to this other place. I nearly got killed by this basic boy. Started jumping around this tower because it seemed pretty neat. And once I got inside, this happened. Can't explain it. There was this really strong boy who was really fucking strong, but I prevailed. Just keep slapping him with a sword. That's the best way forward. And then once I did that, there wasn't really a lot else to do here. So I left. I went back to the bit near Pot Boy, and I got slapped by this bear a couple of times. And then went back towards Pot Boy, and it turns out there's these summons that I can fight. The first one that I summoned just kicked my ass. I then went back and summoned another one which kicked my ass. I then went back to the guy and listened to what he said this time, and then completely ignored it and started hunting the tree avatars instead. I then wanted to figure out how to get up to this, like, upper place, because it doesn't seem like there's a direct path there. And I started following the thing all the way around the edge, and that's when we get exactly to the 20-hour mark. It's just me map exploring, because who needs to do the main story when you could just not?